Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, our mission is resilience. We're digging into a bunch of sources on how advanced AI solutions are building truly holistic monitoring systems for critical infrastructure.
And, when you hear critical infrastructure, maybe you just picture giant power grids or something.
Yeah, exactly. Remote places.
Right. But our sources show it's much broader. We're talking essential services, transport hubs, and even places you use every day, like big shopping centers, and importantly, their parking lots.
Ah, the parking lots. And that's where, the first really surprising stat jumped out at me.
It's pretty stark, isn't it?
Yeah. Parking facilities have become real security hotspots. FBI data showed they were the third most common spot for violent crime back in 2022. That's 25% of all violent incidents?
Do the math on that.
It-
It's wild.
Yeah.
It comes out to over 600 violent crimes happening in parking areas every single week.
Whoa! That really shows the scale of vulnerability, doesn't it? It's enormous.
It is. And that number, it really highlights the core problem we're looking at today. Traditional security, the sort of reactive kind, it's just not keeping up.
Whether it's a parking garage or some remote utility substation.
Exactly. The failure often comes down to just this overwhelming amount of video data that nobody actually watches. We found this one stat that really sums it up. Something like 99% of standard CCTV footage. It's never reviewed by a human.
99%. Okay, so we've got the cameras, the eyes, but if we're not actually using the information, that's a massive vulnerability.
A huge one. And criminals, they understand this perfectly well. They exploit that gap.
Right.
So the central idea we're exploring, the solution, is this concept of holistic monitoring. It's about fusing smart AI software, they call them agents, with really tough deployable hardware.
Okay, AI agents and tough hardware.
Yeah. The whole point is to be proactive, scalable, and importantly, efficient 24/7. We're shifting away from just passively recording stuff to active preventative security.
Okay, let's dig into why that active prevention is almost an economic necessity now. It's not just about preventing violence, right? Think about the cost of just theft.
Oh, absolutely.
Retail centers are hemorrhaging cash, this thing they call retail shrink, which is basically theft and fraud hit an all-time high.
Yeah.
$121 billion in 2024.
Wow.
And a lot of that loss, it either starts out in the parking lot or maybe ends up at the loading dock.
And then you've got the threats to the infrastructure itself, the stuff that's often invisible to us until, the power goes out or the water stops. Copper thefts, for instance.
Ah, yes, copper theft, always in the news.
It's this persistent, really expensive problem for utility companies. Costs businesses around $1 billion a year.
$1 billion, just from copper.
Yeah. And criminals target those remote sites precisely because they know security might only swing by once every few hours, or maybe just once a shift. It's predictable.
And that really gets to the heart of why the old systems fail, doesn't it? It's not just the cost of the crime itself, but the cost and, frankly, the inefficiency of trying to stop it the old way.
Well, take manned security guards first. The cost is just astronomical. You're easily looking at high six figures, maybe more, for proper round-the-clock coverage annually.
Oof, yeah.
Plus, humans, we get tired, we fall into routines, and clever criminals learn those routines. They watch.
But, okay, even if you ditch the guards and try to rely on older tech like basic motion sensors, that doesn't really work either, does it?
No, it's often a disaster. Because you immediately slam into this problem called alarm fatigue.
Alarm fatigue. Okay.
Yeah. Over 90% of the alerts you get from basic motion sensors, they turn out to be nothing. A stray cat, a branch swaying in the wind.
So meaningless alerts.
Totally meaningless.
Yeah.
And when your system is crying wolf 9 times out of 10, what happens? Security staff stop trusting it, they waste time checking false alarms, and sometimes the company even gets hit with fines for false dispatches.
Okay, so if the economics are that bad, super expensive guards, plus this hidden cost of just not trusting the alarms you do have, then this isn't just about slightly better security. It sounds like an urgent business need.
It really is. And our sources pointed out that using these AI-powered mobile surveillance units, it can save an organization up to 88% on security costs compared to just hiring guards.
88%, that's huge. So where do we find these brains? The AI part that solves the trust issue and the efficiency problem.
That takes us right into the architecture of this solution. You need, basically, a tireless virtual security team, these AI agents. They're designed not just to record, but to actively detect, deter, and even help investigate.
Okay, a virtual team. Let's unpack that. Starting with the patrol function. You mentioned an AI inspector with something called Sentry Mode. Patrol cameras aren't exactly new, so what makes this agent smarter?
Right, good question. So the inspector is like your autonomous patrol guard. It definitely uses those PTZ cameras, pan, tilt, zoom, to cover big areas. But Sentry mode is the real difference maker.
Huh.
See, older systems just followed a set path, like a programmed route, ignoring everything, unless maybe a simple motion sensor tripped. Sentry mode is different. It's designed to proactively look for anomalies,
Proactively.
meaning it automatically zooms in on suspicious stuff, tracks unauthorized people or vehicles, and uses what it's learned to verify if it's a real threat. This is how you get rid of those human error blind spots.
So it can tell the difference between someone climbing a fence and just a shadow moving.
Exactly. Relevant activity versus irrelevant motion. That's key.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like
Yeah.
the difference between a security camera just recording a street versus a police officer actually patrolling it, looking for trouble.
That's a good analogy.
But okay, even if you detect something smartly, you still need to intervene quickly, right? Which agent handles that part, the sort of frontline response?
That would be the AI virtual guard. This is the agent that acts as the active deterrent. It's directly linked to the hardware on site, like loudspeakers and strobe lights.
Okay, so the inspector spots something.
Right. The inspector confirms an intrusion, and then the virtual guard kicks in. It starts playing pre-recorded audio warnings. Often they're specific to the site, like, "Warning, you are trespassing. This area is under active surveillance. Authorities have been notified." You know, that kind of thing.
And this is where it gets really interesting for me, the immediate impact of that automated voice.
Yeah, the effectiveness is kind of stunning when you see the numbers. Integrating these agents works incredibly well. This automated audio-visual deterrence, it's highly effective. Our sources show about 93% of intruders just flee
Yeah.
immediately, as soon as they realize they've been spotted and called out by a voice.
93%. That's incredible. That one moment, just a recorded voice telling you to get lost, often stops the crime dead in its tracks seconds after it starts, before police are even called.
It really minimizes damage and exposure. It completely redefines what proactive security actually means in practice.
It really does. But okay, even with a 93% success rate, sometimes, crime still happens. So you need that third agent you mentioned, the AI investigator.
Exactly. This one handles the after-action stuff. It supports the crucial post-event analysis, the forensics.
Right, because manually scrubbing through hours, potentially days of video footage
Yeah.
used to be an absolute nightmare for investigators. How does this speed things up when something does go wrong?
The key capability here is something called magic search. Forget scrolling through timelines for hours.
Magic search. Okay, sounds cool.
It kind of operates like you see on TV crime shows, honestly.
Yeah.
You can query the video archives using just normal language,
Sure.
or you can even upload a picture of a suspect or maybe their car.
Seriously, like you type in?
Yeah, you could type in complex stuff like, "Show me the white delivery truck near the loading dock between midnight and 3 a.m." And the AI scans everything and pulls up the matching video clips almost instantly.
Wow.
It dramatically speeds up investigations. The deployment data we saw showed up to 72% faster case resolution, because you're searching all the footage quickly, not just the tiny fraction a human has time to review.
Okay, so we've got the smart software, these specialized AI agents doing different jobs, but you mentioned critical infrastructure is often out there, remote, maybe off-grid, harsh environments. These sophisticated brains need some serious, rugged brawn to operate in, right?
Absolutely, the hardware is crucial. It has to be tough, self-sufficient, and easy to move around. The foundation, really, is the 4G solar cameras. These are kind of the workhorses that push security right out to the edges of a property.
What's the key thing about them that makes them so deployable?
While they're individual units, each one has its own solar panel, its own battery, and built-in 4G LTE cellular connection.
So no wires needed.
Exactly. No need for external power cables, no need for network lines. That gives you true deploy-anywhere flexibility. You can put eyes on places where running fiber or power is just totally impractical or impossible.
Okay, that makes sense for the basic coverage. But what about deploying systems really fast, say for temporary needs like a road construction zone, or maybe adding extra security for a big outdoor festival? What's the sort of quick grab-and-go option?
That sounds like the job for the guard box Air. Think of the Air as like a compact security bubble you can deploy really rapidly. It's self-contained.
Okay, smaller, faster.
Right. It might trade a bit of the maximum coverage area for speed of deployment. It's ideal for those temporary perimeter security needs where you need something up and running in just a few hours.
Gotcha. And then there's the step up from that, the Guard Box Pro. Sounds like the heavy hitter for bigger sites.
The Pro is definitely the heavy-duty enterprise-grade tower. It's built for maximum coverage and maximum deterrence from a single point.
So more cameras, more power.
Yeah, it typically combines a really powerful PTZ camera, often with something like 25x optical zoom and auto-tracking capabilities, plus a wide-angle panoramic camera, maybe 180 degrees, and it sits alongside a very loud speaker, like 130 decibels.
Wow, 130 dB is loud.
Oh yeah. This whole setup is designed to cover huge areas. Think rail yards, big industrial plants, massive commercial parking lots, places where one tower needs to effectively watch hundreds of yards of perimeter.
Okay. And then for the really vast, super remote scenarios, like monitoring miles of pipeline or huge solar farms out in the desert, there's the Alpha trailer. That sounds like a mobile command center.
That's exactly what it is. It's designed for pure endurance and maximum autonomy over huge areas. It's a full-size trailer.
Right.
Well, it's got features built for extreme self-sufficiency. A telescoping mast that goes up 7 meters that's about 23 feet high, multiple PTZ and fixed cameras, a massive battery bank, sometimes around 12,000 watt-hours, plus a big onboard recorder, maybe 8 terabytes for long-term storage.
So it could just sit out there for weeks or months on its own.
Pretty much. It's the
Yeah.
go-to solution when you need comprehensive coverage in the absolute middle of nowhere for extended periods.
Okay, so we've got the specialized AI brains and the tough deployable brawn. The whole point of this deep dive, though, is section 4. Putting it all together. The holistic ecosystem. How do the software and the hardware actually work together to deliver results?
Right, because the real power isn't just in the individual pieces, it's in how they coordinate. This is layered, unified security.
Mm-hmm.
The AI coordinates everything.
How quick?
In seconds. It coordinates detection, maybe from a camera way out on the fence line with immediate deterrence, say, through that loudspeaker on a GuardBox Pro. It all happens almost instantly. It creates this single, integrated security loop.
And the beauty of it, you mentioned earlier, is how adaptable it is. You talked about parking lots and remote utility sites having different needs. How does the system actually change its behavior?
It's all down to how it's configured. So in that shopping mall parking lot, the AI is trained to look for specific behaviors like someone loitering near parked cars or moving suspiciously between vehicles late at night, things that suggest break-ins or maybe even assaults.
Okay, typical parking lot risks.
Right. But now take that remote utility site. The risk profile is totally different. There, the rules are set up mainly for perimeter intrusion, and often it's configured to treat any human presence detected at night as an immediate, high-priority threat.
Because nobody should be there.
Exactly. The only likely reason someone's climbing that fence at 2 a.m. is for sabotage, or more likely, copper theft. So the system reacts instantly and aggressively to that specific high-risk scenario.
This whole shift, moving from passive recording to active coordinated response, it delivers some pretty huge, measurable benefits for the organizations using it, right? For our listeners' potential bottom line.
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk specifics. First, the big one, cost savings. We touched on it, but comparing it to human guards, the sources show real-world savings, often exceeding $600,000 per year.
600 grand a year is serious money.
It is. Second, reliability. You get genuine 24/7 coverage. The AI doesn't need breaks, doesn't get distracted, it doesn't call in sick.
And crucially, it fixes that massive headache we talked about earlier, alarm fatigue.
Yes, that AI filtering the inspector, making sure it's actually a person, not just a plastic bag blowing by, leads to this drastic drop in false positives, often over a 90% reduction.
Which means when an alert does come through.
Responders trust it, they know it's likely real. That increases efficiency all down the line. And finally, there's personnel safety. You're not sending a human guard into a potentially dangerous situation just to check out a suspicious noise. The AI and the cameras check first. They provide vital intelligence before any human response team goes in.
So wrapping this up, what does this all signify for the future of how we oversee security? Where is this heading?
It really represents a fundamental paradigm shift. This holistic AI monitoring moves security away from that old passive detect and report model, which relied on maybe catching something in that 1% of footage someone eventually watched.
Right.
And it moves it to an active detect, deter, and analyze model.
Yeah.
It ensures security is comprehensive, it's smart, and importantly, it's cost-effective. It's about minimizing incidents before they escalate, which, frankly, is the only viable way to tackle threats that are costing industries billions a year.
That brings us perfectly to our final provocative thought for you, the listener, to take away today. One of our sources made this great analogy. Relying on just a single security measure, like only having CCTV, is like locking your front door but leaving all the windows wide open.
Good one.
True security resilience, true strength comes from a layered, unified system where every single component from that solar camera out on the far fence line to the virtual guard's voice booming over the loudspeaker is coordinated by a central intelligence. So the challenge for you now is to look at your current security setup and identify where are those open windows? Where are you still relying on that 99% of unwatched footage? And maybe start thinking about what the real cost of that neglect might be.
Great point to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into smarter security.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.